He's Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen Jacoby.
What up,
Jalen, what exactly is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
What a show we have for you today. A historic, legendary performance from Kevin Durant to give the Nets a critical Game 5 victory. But we have some breaking news in the NBA, and it is not good for the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard has notified his teammates they need to be ready for him not to be available in not just Game 5, but potentially the entire series. That is the play in which he tweaked that right knee. Jalen, what is the impact of missing Kawhi on this series?
Injury and luck always plays a factor with who advances in the playoffs and ultimately who wins the championship. This season seems different because it's the superstar players on the teams. It's Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. It's an all-NBA guy like Anthony Davis missing for the Lakers. And Kawhi not being with the Clippers, that distinctly means I go from thinking that they're going to win this series to anticipating they're going to lose this series. That's the impact of the Kawhi Leonard injury. Because the Utah Jazz had the #1 record in the entire NBA. They broke a record for three-point shots. And yet, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George finally seem to be hitting their stride. They had back-to-back 30-point games each. Morris knocked down a ton of threes. Kawhi was dunking on people and really playing with ferocity. So without him, it's really unfortunate for the league and for the Clippers, and obviously, I feel bad for Kawhi. Hopefully, it's not a serious injury, but if he's not able to return in this series, they will not advance.
I agree. And 9 All-Stars have missed time in this postseason, which is just an unconscionable number. But, Jalen, I also agree. Missing Kawhi Leonard, he is the key to this team. Paul George is inconsistent. Kawhi Leonard is the opposite. He's always there for them. He's always getting 30 points. He's always locking down on defense, and they will not have him, and they will not advance if they don't have him for the rest of this series. That is not the only bad news for NBA fans. Another Western Conference superstar will be sidelined. Potentially, that is Chris Paul, who is now in the COVID-19 protocol. It is important to note that at this point, right now, we do not know the impact of that. Will he miss a couple days? Will he be available Game 1 of the Western Conference? Or will he miss the entire series? We don't know the severity of his testing positive or contact tracing. But, Jalen, if they don't have him, what will that mean?
Well, we had Jay Crowder on the show yesterday, and he talked about the impact of Chris Paul and how it's not about statistics. But I want to tell you something that you missed with Chris Paul. His fourth quarter brilliance. Like, what he's done during the game is basically set up the chessboard and set the table so Bridges can eat, so Ayton can eat, so we can make Booker feel comfortable. And then in the fourth quarter, he became Mariano Rivera, the closer, keeping his turnovers down, his efficiency up, and his leadership has been unquestioned. And so this one isn't so doom and gloom for me, however, like Kawhi, because today's Wednesday. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals either is going to be Sunday or Tuesday. I don't anticipate he's going to be out longer than a week. So for me, if he's going to miss, I believe it will be maximum 1 game. And again, this is only anticipation. But either way, I believe he will return to play most of the next round.
Yes, it is important to know that there's certain, like a contact tracing investigation can last a couple days and then free him up to play. Or he could have tested positive, have symptoms in which he would be gone for a couple weeks, if not more. We do not know right now. However, those are 2 major impactful stories for the Western Conference. But Jalen, we finally get to talk about what Kevin Durant did last night in Brooklyn in Game 5, a pivotal game in the series. Kevin Durant played every single second of the game and scored 49 points, had 17 rebounds and 10 assists. A dynamic, historic performance from Durant. What do you have in a reaction to this performance?
And it wasn't because PJ Tucker had 0 points in the game. Because when he did well against KD, he had 0 points in a previous game, except his plus minus was 11. And for those intimately involved in the league, we knew that this was going to be an opportunity for the easy money sniper to respond. James Harden was hobbled. Kyrie Irving was out. They were going back home. And that stat line of 49, 17, and 10, that has never happened in the history of the NBA playoffs. Just think about that for a second.
Wow.
And also, his fourth quarter heroics, for everybody that doesn't understand how Chris Middleton, that was good D. All 9 of his shots were contested. Those last couple of threes that he made, that wasn't his normal shooting motion. Those were like heat checks. If I can see the rim, I'm Iceberg Slim shooting trays from the suburbs. This is money. Effortlessly. And it was a phenomenal performance to see. I also want to make sure I give props to James Harden. Who would have thought he would have returned from being out to doubtful to questionable to in the lineup and play more minutes while he was struggling than Giannis Antetokounmpo in that game?
Wow.
James Harden had a play on the left side where he was guarding Giannis on the post. Help was coming. Hey, you need us? You need us? You need us? Fake and fall, fake and fall, fake and fall. He like, no, I got it.
I'm good.
See, Giannis supposed to rip the ball through and go dunk on the entire city of Brooklyn. When you take a fall away jump shot, that right there plays on the psyche of yourself. When you miss free throws late, it plays on the psyche of yourself and your teammates. And then when you drop Middleton's pass late in the game, it causes you to lose the game. So Kevin Durant, they didn't just win the game. They beat the Bucks, and it was because of an all-time great performance by KD.
It was an all-time great performance from KD. However, there's a lot of questions to be asked of the Bucks' strategy in this one of which is, why is Giannis not guarding Kevin Durant? Here is what Giannis said about guarding Kevin Durant in the post-game presser.
Sure. I want to take the challenge, and obviously everybody's going to have a chance to guard him, but I would love going to game 6 to be able to guard him, and if coach wants me to do that, I'm ready for that.
Jalen, why wasn't Giannis guarding Kevin Durant? Why weren't they hunting James Harden on offense? Why did they make these decisions in the second half in Brooklyn? Explain it to me.
David Jalen Jacoby. You and I both know there can't be a person that loves Giannis more than I do. As a matter of fact, I picked them to win this series, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Didn't I pick them to win this series?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so let me tell you why I picked them to win this series. I felt that the Nets, Big Three, only played with each other around 10 times this year. If injuries happen, their chemistry wouldn't be there. I felt like KD and Jeff Green, who was terrific, so was Blake Griffin, we'll get to them, had no chance of guarding Giannis. And yes, he had 34 and 12. But you know what happens when the best player on the other team is having a worldly, out-of-body experience and an amazing performance like KD was doing? You know what should happen during the game? The best player, that's the reigning defensive player of the year, before Gobert won it this year, he should look at the other 14 guys in the coaching staff, say, I got him. There's going to be a lot of people that say, blame Coach Bud. No, you're not blaming the Nets for KD playing 48 minutes. You know why? Because it wasn't about the analytics. We're going to play James Harden 43 minutes. We throwing out the analytics. You know why? We trying to win. And we need our best players to perform at their best. And usually that means the two best players, when they can go mano-a-mano, that it actually happens. I'm sorely disappointed that Giannis Antetokounmpo did not guard Kevin Durant at all in the fourth quarter when he was having an historic performance, when clearly he has the skills and the ability to do so. Really disappointed in that.
You heard him himself. He said, if coach wants that, then I will do that. You're telling me into this microphone that it's not about coaching. It's not about Coach Bud. It's about Giannis himself just saying, I got him.
Hey, James Harden, how many minutes do you want to play tonight? Well, it depends on how many the coach says. It depends on how many the trainers say. No, they weren't taking him out because it was do or die. Hey, KD, when the last time somebody played the entire 48 minutes of a playoff game in recent history? It rarely happens because you wasn't taking KD out. Who's the superstar of the Milwaukee Bucks, David Jacoby?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
So what is the coaching staff going to say when he says, I got KD? Let me handle that, Middleton. Let me handle that, Tucker. Tucker has already been the discount. I mean, they've already got the bargain for Tucker. They picked him up from Houston. He made some threes in the previous game. He was talked about for days, and I even said it. That was the best I've ever seen KD defending him. But he only 6'5", Jacoby. Mm-hmm. He only 6'5". Giannis has got to take on that challenge, and I'm really disappointed. And so we can talk about what's going to happen in the next game, but guess what? They're ready for it now. They're ready for it now. We needed it then. Yeah, it's going to be great for it to happen in the next game, but we needed it in the game where Harden was playing 43 points and you were taking turnaround jumpers. That's when we need it. So you're going to be surprised. I'm sticking with my pick, though. I'm sticking with my pick.
And you cannot blame Coach Bud for the Giannis guarding KD thing, but I do blame Coach Bud for not hunting James Harden on offense. He was obviously hobbled. He had no lateral movement, and they didn't put him in enough actions. They just did not. They allowed him to play as much as he did because they could have hunted him. They could have scored him. They could have taken better advantage of that. What a Game 5 in this series. Cannot wait for Game 6. But, Jalen, we have another update on Aaron Rodgers. Port District of New York City and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we've talked about Aaron Rodgers for months, and now we have some new sound from his mouth about his offseason. Let's listen to the MVP of the NFL.
Yeah, it's been one of those quiet off seasons you just dream about, where you can just kind of go through your process on your own quietly, and that's all you can ask for as an older player in the league and someone who's been around for a long time and just enjoys that time to yourself, to just relax, to not be bothered, to not have any obligations or anything going on. And I think that's what this offseason's been about. It's been about really enjoying my time and spending it where I want to spend it and not feeling like I have to go anywhere, not having any responsibilities, but still being an NFL player.
Jalen, he's just enjoying himself, no obligations, no responsibilities. What do you make of him kind of joking about his offseason?
That's what happens when you've been with a company 15 plus years and you don't have any guaranteed money left on your deal. He basically said it. His shirt, by the way, says, I'm offended. Listen to what he said. I enjoy relaxing. This offseason, it's been great being a football player without the responsibilities of one. In other words, yeah, I'm a football player, but they ain't paying me like I deserve to get paid. So I'm going to just withhold my services, enjoy my offseason, and athletes are like rent-a-cars, Jacoby. The less miles we put on them, the more that you can still use them later. And so this doesn't necessarily hurt him by not playing. It's going to be interesting to see how this gets sorted, but I don't like the way the team is handling it, because when you look at the list of players who don't have guaranteed money, Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be on this list.
No, he should not.
The Steelers are going to take care of Big Ben. Don't worry about Big Ben. Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for every team in the NFL. Derek Carr is the guy that jumps out to me along with Jimmy Garoppolo, because Chucky's going to decide Derek Carr's fate, not the other way around.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Derek Carr, because we will see how long he will be with the Raiders in Vegas. But he had something very interesting to say about exactly that. Let's listen.
I probably quit football if I had to play for somebody else. You know, I am a Raider for my entire life. I'm going to root for one team for the rest of my life, and it's the Raiders. I think we can all agree that if we were able to pull it off and win a championship here, that would feel much better than just piling a whole bunch of great players together and joining up and doing it that way. I'd rather go down with the ship, you know what I'm saying, if I have to. When I sign a contract, I completely, in my mind, have to fulfill that.
Jalen, he said he would probably quit football if he were to leave the Raiders. I don't see him finishing his career in Las Vegas. What do you think?
DC.
Come on,
Derek.
Mr. Carr.
Let me tell you something, dog. You ain't quitting football when you don't play for the Raiders. So get ready. I know you put probably for a reason. Let's own that. You don't control your destiny, family. It's only like 3 or 4 quarterbacks currently in the NFL that should be making a statement like this, and you're not one of them. Now, I appreciate his love for the Raiders, and you're right. You can root for one team the rest of your career, but that don't mean you're going to only play for one. You know how this business works.
Jalen, the Eastern Conference is so interesting in the wake of last night's Game 5 in Brooklyn, and we now have another pivotal Game 5 in the other series in the Eastern Conference between the Atlanta Hawks and the 76ers. What do you expect from Joel Embiid this evening?
Activity. He really struggled and looked bad in the second half of that game without making a field goal, and also struggling defensively in pick and roll situations and settling. The last offensive shot that he took, normally that's Joel Embiid going strong to the basket and finishing over the top like he did Clint Capella on that play I like. That wasn't it right there.
No.
That wasn't it right there. His legs looked fatigued, and being in the arena, like I told you, the team's in a huddle. Joel is either sitting 2 or 3 rows back, trying to catch his breath, or laying on the floor, looking up at the ceiling, trying to catch his wind. I hope he's been able to do that over this last couple of days. And if he's playing like he's capable, the Sixers, in my opinion, still going to win this series.
Well, we will see tonight. And Jalen, in a day that is chock full of NBA breaking news, we have another piece of NBA news that might surprise you. I'll tell you what that is right after this. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. On a day full of breaking NBA news, we have more. Stan Van Gundy will not continue as the head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, and Scott Brooks and the Wizards could not come to terms on a new deal, so he will no longer be the head coach of the Wizards. Jalen, what do you think about these 2 coaching vacancies that are brand new?
I got love for Stan Van, JRLA supporter. But when you have Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram on your roster in the Western Conference, and they have to watch young stars like Ja Morant in the playoffs, it's not good for your head coach. In particular for a squad like Memphis, for example, who played the entire season basically without Jaren Jackson Jr. For Scott Brooks, I'm not necessarily surprised by this move, and here's why. The Wizards, who started off struggling, got healthy, and Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, who averaged a triple-double for the 4th year of his career, were outstanding. This now becomes an attractive job. So, NBA owners, let me introduce you to some new talent in the pool, because Scott Brooks got another chance. Stan Van Gundy got another chance. It'd be great if Mark Jackson could get another chance. If you want a new coach, Jamal Mosley, Chauncey Billups.